take the next few minutes to talk about something that people avoid talking about, but as many as 1 in 3 or even 1 in 2 households in our country have someone in their life who is an addict.
And so today we have a new expert here to introduce you to, not only to help the addict, but the people in their lives who are helping them. Dr. Bruce Baker and Fran Reckner are here from Brook Recovery. Thank you so much for being here with us today. Dr. Baker, I want to start by asking you about addiction. When we talk about addiction, what does that mean and what types of addictions are there?
Well, we know that addiction is a brain disease, and the disease itself has a predictable set of symptoms, a predictable response to treatment, and usually a predictable prognosis, but because it's human behavior, people have choices even after treatment. So it's recognized now as a disease state that is completely treatable. It's a chronic disease. Doesn't have to be relapsing as long as people care for it much as they would their diabetes or hypertension.
Right. Okay, so at Westbrook, what types of addiction do you treat?
I would say all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's a substance, whether it's a behavioral addiction,
right,
such as a gambling addiction or a sexual addiction, the suffering is the same for individuals and families,
right,
and they're actually performing behaviors that they normally wouldn't perform.
And you had mentioned families. That's a key point there, because when someone is facing addiction or involved in that, it's not just one person that's affected by that. And I'm sure that's a story you see over and over again.
At Westbrook, that's why we have families involved from the first day. They are involved in their treatment. It's the families that suffer. It's not an individual disease. And by the time people have created enough problems and abnormal behaviors that they're seeking treatment, the family really is suffering greatly.
Yeah.
And that's the wonderful part of having something local, and that families can be involved. They don't have to fly anywhere or drive anywhere, and that they can be involved in their loved one's treatment from day one.
Fran, describe kind of that overall, kind of the beginning stages. If somebody would maybe be referred to you, or if a family member would approach you, how does the process begin?
The process would just begin with, the family member or an employer or a good friend just making contact with us, and usually just asking, what are the services that, we offer. And then if, some folks are ready for help and, embrace the opportunity, well, there's sometimes we may have to use a more intense intervention, more of an organized approach. Usually, though, once we can get people to see what the treatment process is, they view it as an opportunity rather than it's not punitive. And so it's something that, once they can see that and grasp onto it, that it's an opportunity, it just becomes a really positive, life-changing experience for them.
We heard some amazing statistics, at the beginning of how many people are facing addiction or know somebody, but yet there exists such a stigma. Why is that when so many people are suffering, or, they have a loved one that may be suffering?
Part of it has been political. Mm-hmm. Alcohol has been a problem since 10,000 BC. Mm-hmm. The first rehabilitation facilities were in Egypt in 1500 BC. So the problems with these substances really are part of being human, and that when we're exposed to them, in some individuals creates a mindset that causes behaviors that society doesn't accept anymore.
So you don't want to say, okay, this is my weakness, or I have a loved one that's facing this, and we can't get our hands around it?
Correct. It's easier to admit it if you know that there's a treatment, mm-hmm, and that there's hope. To admit it knowing that there's no hope, no one wants to admit it.
And there is treatment and hope.
There is treatment, there is hope, and people do respond well to treatment if they want to do it.
So let's talk about a timeline, the steps. Do you help people? I mean, obviously, there's probably no magic length of time that it takes for each person, because we're all individuals. But do you start by sort of setting goals for the person who's suffering with the addiction, and maybe family goals, personal goals?
Exactly. I would say that that's probably one of the key characteristics that I think differentiates us from other treatment programs out there. Is we don't have a set 28 or 90-day program. Those seem to be the standards within the industry. what we have are whatever it takes. It's very customized, very personalized, tailored treatment. So we're all, different. We're all individuals. We come from different backgrounds, genetically, environmentally, socioeconomically. So all those factors need to be taken into consideration. What our histories are. And I believe that, it's such an important question when someone comes in that we ask them right initially off the bat, what is it that you want to achieve while you're here? Not, we can't establish those goals for people. They have to, have a, play an integral part in defining what those are.
That's wonderful. You were saying everything is individual. You have inpatient treatment, outpatient. We're going to put all your information on our website to make it easy for people to find you and start asking questions. Thank you for coming in today.
Thank you.
Really helpful, and hopefully begin some people's journey to wellness again.
And we'll be having you back every month to talk about this, because I think maybe one of the most important things we can do is share the information with people who may be sitting at home thinking that they're suffering individually, because this is really a community and a societal problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
That's West.